Well, I'll give mine the one that I said was going to be a BS and just kind of off of vibes. I thought about it a little bit more. Um, Trace. I think Trace could actually get an all-star. Here's why.
I don't
Politics.
even want to hear this, bro.
Politics.
I don't even want
Politics.
to.
Victor, you ready?
Let's set the tone here, Kev.
Look, you're going.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Daniel, you ready?
Ready, Kevin?
Look, you're going.
Yeah.
Ooh. Mike, you ready?
Indubitably, brother.
Look, you're going.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the first episode of Good Morning Let's Basketball Season 3. We're excited to be back. Thank you all for 1.5 thousand subscribers. The support has been insane on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. But before we get into anything today, unfortunately, our GOAT, as Chicago Bulls fans, as you can see behind Victor, Derrick Rose has retired, and we've just been given the news that Dikembe Mutombo has also passed away. Therefore, we will give him the GMLB patented moment of silence. Let's give him 5 seconds, fellas. Bringing it back to the pod, shout out Derrick Rose and Mutombo for amazing careers, but we do have a way to communicate with fans this year. We have started a new email line that is gmlbfans@gmail.com. We will be reading emails on the podcast if the fans send some in. So feel free to send any emails, any thoughts you have about trades, NBA topics, about us. And if we see fit, we will shout you out and we will read your podcast email live. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Victor, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Yeah, so the NBA season is slowly approaching, and the off season started off hot, cooled off, and it came hot again. We had Cat going to New York, really out of the blue, unexpected. And we're going to give out some preseason predictions for you guys. We're going to first start off with the champions. Who do you guys have as becoming the new NBA champion for the 2024-2025 NBA season?
So you think there's going to be a new one? Don't think the Celtics will run it back. We know Victor. We know who Victor's not picking.
Oh, no,
I
no.
think
I do
I
have the
think we know
Celtics.
who he is picking. He's definitely picking the Thunder. You know he's got to get that Shea Glaze early in season 3.
I don't know about yeah. I actually think it's gonna be a rematch.
A
I have to be
rematch.
honest.
I feel like a lot of people have it being a rematch. It's like, do we think the Mavs can do it again? It's kind of my biggest
Imagine
question. The Celtics will be there, if not conference finals at the very, very least. Not to jinx anything, but I'm curious to know if the Mavs will do it again. That's obviously the biggest thing that's holding a rematch back.
I'm honestly like, imagine a world where the Mavs Celtics is like the new wave Warriors Cleveland. Like imagine a world where where it's
That
just
would
like
feed families, dude.
five
That,
straight five straight years of that.
I do enjoy JB and JT when they're on the court together, and they're fun to watch. So that would feed families, man. I'd be excited to watch that matchup.
Yeah. I mean, the series this year wasn't too incredible just because Luka's injury and Kyrie can't play against the Celtics, but hopefully that wears off. I mean, I could see a rematch. Honestly, I was not gonna predict that the Mavs would make it back, but I'm glad you said that because now I'm pondering on that.
And they
I
just
had him in
added
my
Clay.
list. Yeah, but the NBA, I know you guys have seen the NBA media day picks. The one with Klay Thompson in his Mavericks jersey can live up to or surpass the memes of Shaq in the Celtics jersey.
Or
That's
Hakeem
a
and the Raptors.
that's a phenomenal possibility.
People were
So
comparing the I don't know if you guys saw it, the Tim Hardaway Jr. on the Pistons, the Celtics Shaq.
there's a bunch of them. KG on the Nets. Like
Yeah.
this could surpass all those, just like by a like not by a long shot.
Um,
But I did have the Mavs in my list just as kind of like a question mark of if they can make it back. But also I have the Thunder and the Celtics in my list too.
Yeah.
That's my second option.
I was gonna say I had my picks being the Thunder Celtics this year. I think the Thunder are coming for a revenge tour, honestly. I think adding Caruso and Hartenstein just makes like that. We talk about not pushing the needle on pretty much every trade that's ever been made in the last 2 seasons, but those two pieces are trades that do move the needle exponentially in my eyes. So,
Yeah, they got like the two things that they like. If they could have anything added to their roster, they added it. An interior big to grab boards, uh, three perimeter defender, which you can never have enough of them. One of them, especially being Caruso, experienced, and on top of that, the third thing is playoff experience, which they got last year. We know they can win in the regular season. They did well in the playoffs. They lost to the team that made the NBA Finals. So that I would hope that they can build on this, and I think they will.
How are we feeling about Denver? They didn't go anywhere. They're still there. And they're still, I feel like, one win away from being in the same conversation of the teams that we're talking about right now. And I'm just referring to last year's playoffs. I know.
yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. I think the consensus is that Denver is one of the most underrated contenders right now. And I don't know if losing your best perimeter shooter and your six man puts you in that category. But I mean, I guess they got Russell Westbrook. So I mean, if you consider Russell Westbrook a difference maker, it's possible. I'm being sarcastic, but I mean, I kind of see it. I kind of see him coming back.
He's coming off the bench though, right?
I think
Mm,
so.
Yeah, he'll definitely have to. I
But he'll
think their run might depend on the success of Christian Brown and Russell Westbrook because they're putting a lot of faith into these guys. Getting rid of KCP, Christian Brown is kind of like he's the next guy up. So if he's as ready as they think he is, they're there. They're in that conversation. I still think they always are. But yeah,
I,
I think those two guys
Well,
are going to be very important.
real quick, Kevin, lock that in the Christian Brown because that's the second time now that you've mentioned him preseason of this upcoming season, and if he has a good, if he does something real crazy, that this will be a good moment to look back on. But go ahead, Victor.
I think what the no my D my D Rose
Uh,
fell. Um, but
That's
I think
symbolic.
what I think they're gonna do with Russell Westbrook and like closing games and like very in crunch time, I think they're gonna put him on the floor instead of Christian Brown because I don't know if you guys saw that Mike Malone press conference. He was basically saying like I don't know why people don't talk about Westbrook's defense enough. And I think they're gonna go towards Westbrook closing out games, having him in that lineup.
I want to see a big step from Peyton Watson this year. I still am high on Peyton Watson. Um, but yeah, I'm really trying to see him step into the playing time, the minutes. He didn't have a stellar season last year. He had his moments, but I think if there's any time where they need someone to really come into their own and take over and fill these minutes, it's got to be now. So I think almost just as much as Christian Brown matters, I think also Peyton Watson matters as that piece off the bench for them.
yeah, I like that. I mean, he did show flashes last season, like you said, and I think he can be good. Kind of reiterate what you're saying. The time is now for kind of him to make his case as actual role player for this team. And back to what you said earlier about the Nuggets being like an underrated pick to win the championship. That sounds crazy to say because the past 2, 3 years they've been like that team that people have been picking. And I think people are forgetting a little bit about Denver because a lot of their players like MPJ and KCP severely underperformed in that series with Minnesota. And now Minnesota lost their key piece as to why they were able to beat Denver, which is Cat. And I have my reasons for that, but I don't have to go into it right now.
That's fair.
If you made it this far into the video, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Halfway to getting 2,000 subscribers, 500 more. And if you guys can, if you're listening to this, make sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and also share with someone. Share us. It helps us out tremendously, and we're gonna get back into the pod.
I was just gonna ask one last question about the Mavericks because I think we're all on the kind of general consensus. There's no hot take of a team, a dark horse team, as of right now that we're all thinking like they could be up there. It's between Boston Celtics and kind of the same pool of teams. But one question that I wanted to ask is, do we think that the Mavericks' ability to get to the finals, or do we think that like it's going to be harder for the Mavericks to get to the finals this year, or do we think that it was harder last year?
I think this year, I think there's a lot of teams that are gonna be like surprising. I think Rockets are gonna be surprising. The new look with Sacramento with DeMar DeRozan, I think that's gonna be a team to look out for as well. The Grizzlies are back with John Morant. They got Zach Edey. I think there's just a lot more competition in the West this year.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could see, it's so hard to like say it's going to be harder or easier this year just because like we haven't it's harder to say it's going to be easier this year because it's always harder the repeating year because every team gets better, every team makes moves, but I will say like the only argument I could see for it being easier this year is Luca may be healthier. He was playing through injuries last playoffs, but I don't think it's that difference making. I think it's going to be harder. I don't really think it's too much of a question on that
I
one.
probably, I probably agree. It definitely is going to be harder. I mean, everybody's starting back from zero in about 2 weeks here. Plus, on top of, I was going to mention the injuries. I'm glad you brought that up. But also that Mavericks team, that like whole like final roster in the finals was assembled at the All-Star break. So these guys have only played with each other half of the season, and they went to the finals. So the chemistry is going to get built up. They added some other pieces. So I like their chances a lot.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I mean, you guys pretty much said everything that I wanted to say too, which is that I think it is going to be harder this year because even though they got better and they have a little bit more confidence going into this season, so a lot of other teams did get better too. But I just really wanted to say that, Miles, I do think that that is going to make a difference. The fact that this isn't exactly what you were saying, but this is what I'm going to say. I think that the expectation for any NBA player is obviously, oh, I want to get to the finals and win a championship. But I think we can all agree that I don't think the Mavericks really thought that they had a chance like that. Like I don't think they really thought that that was in grasp for them. So moving forward this year, I do think that kind of gives them a leg up is that now they do go in with the expectation the whole season of saying, hey, we are contenders. We are those guys that have to defend our seats. So it'll be interesting to see.
Defend what?
Not a title, but yeah.
I was gonna say no love for the Knicks from anyone on this podcast. I was gonna say I don't really care. I could care less about the Knicks just because I'm a Celtics fan, but like you guys think the Celtics are returning? Is that a consensus GMLB vote on that?
if they're not, I think it's 76ers.
Ooh, hot,
If
hot
if
take.
it's not Celtics, it's New York. I think New York is up there, but I don't know. That team is at an all-time high right now. They just have so much talent. I don't know if New York is going to be able to keep up. Like they have a pretty new team. We're just gonna have to see.
I,
Yeah.
Plus, they're running it back, man. The Celtics are running it back, and I love this Joe Mazzulla quote. He was like, "People are gonna say the target is on our back, but I hope it's right in our forehead, between our eyes. I hope I can see the red dot." So they're
Bro's got the
ready.
hardest quotes. Joe Mazzulla has the most underrated quotes, bro. What
Dude,
was
I
the
love
other
his
one he
quotes.
said? He said something
we
about like
mentioned it on the podcast.
yeah, I remember we've talked about this before.
It had something to do with like worship, I think, sort of.
And ESPN actually rated Joe Mazzulla as 11th best head coach in the NBA.
That's insane.
That's horrible. That's why we don't take ESPN seriously besides stats. Because that's
Comes in,
crazy.
comes in. I mean, to be fair, Celtics were good, you know, when he came in, but he kept the ship afloat and they won a chip under him. So like to not even put him in the top 10 right now, especially like there's not that many Like I don't know. There's not that many good coaches out there.
I guess losing Woj means you just get to lose your mind too. Like
I
that's
guarantee
insane.
I guarantee Tibbs is I guarantee Tibbs is higher on that list, isn't he?
Not sure.
That's horrible. I wish you honestly, I wish you didn't even say that because now I'm in a bad mood about ESPN. I never want to go to this
Yeah.
website again. I'm looking at Peyton Watson's 1.8 points per game right now. And I just want
I,
to
I
close
looked
the
up the same
tab.
thing.
I
I
just
looked
want to
up the
close
same.
the tab. I was like trying to make a case for him, and I was like, damn, maybe his season wasn't that good. 1.8 points per game.
I
See
mean,
what's
I just
going
He
on
wasn't
here.
in there to score so much.
I
I was gonna say
guess.
I figured because he's a forward, I figured like he obviously wasn't getting that many minutes and stuff. But then, like Kevin said, he's gonna hopefully come into his own, and you said so. Like it made sense. I thought it was a good one.
Like I said that and went into it like knowing I was going to be able to defend it, and then I pulled up his stats and I was like, not much I could say here, man. 29% from three. Oh, I still
But
believe him, bro. He's got a nice build. That's all that matters in the NBA.
one thing before we go on to our next predictions, I want to ask you guys because we were talking a little bit about sleepers, how Denver Nuggets have been getting slept on. What about another team that nobody's been talking about, the Milwaukee Bucks? What do you guys think about them as a chance to go into the finals? Finally,
I'm
a
gonna stay.
healthy season, maybe.
I'm gonna stay silent on that. I'm gonna be honest. So my statement ends there.
I'm a go. I'll do the opposite, and I'll say they're gonna not do anything again. I will make the bold prediction. I think that the whole roster is gonna take a step back this year again. As again, like the thing with them is their age. Portis is getting up there, Chris Middleton's up there. Obviously, you have Giannis, but Dame is also getting up there. I mean, it's maybe it's just my hatred for what's bro's name? Pat Connaughton. Maybe it's my hatred for Pat Connaughton, but I just don't like with the Knicks, the Sixers, the Celtics. I think that they've been passed. I won't count them out completely. I'll for the record, I'll say they still have a shot, but I really don't believe in the Bucks.
Yeah,
It,
sorry, go ahead, keep going.
no, I'm sorry, I was talking for a minute, but I wanted to say that I think they'll finish like top of the East. Like they could even finish the second seed, but when it comes to like actually winning playoff games, playoff success, I don't think it's going to be any different from last year.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. If anything, I guess I would say I think the end of this year there's going to be, and we've talked about it, some big question marks for Giannis and what he wants to do with the rest of his career. Yeah, I mean, Dame made a deal with the devil and made one 37-foot shot over Paul George for a playoff breath of air, and now he's never going to touch the finals again. So, or not that he did, but I think you guys get what I mean. Yeah, I don't think that Dame and Giannis are going to stick around to play with each other for any longer than another season. Maybe no, I really don't see it getting past this season. I don't see them winning either. So, that's kind of just where it ends. I see them having a very mid mid type of season.
What do we think about Dame Lillard to the Charlotte Hornets?
In exchange for LaMelo Ball, or like, ooh,
No, he just signs there.
I don't think they
Like
need him.
just like Dame in like in Charlotte.
To like Tony Parker when he left the Spurs to go to Charlotte, like Dame Lillard hits the twilight years and just goes to Charlotte.
Thing
I,
is, for his type of play, I feel like he's not as sustainable as other guys for like like a long period of time.
this was not a serious take. We can move on. We don't have to actually dive in. We don't have to unpack that there. I was just messing around.
So moving on from championship talks, majority of us are saying Celtics, unless someone said anything else. But we're gonna go into the probably the most heated debate every year for the NBA, and that is MVP. Who do you guys see coming out as the MVP of the league next year? There are a lot of valuable players, but there can only be one valuable.
Surely it's Luca's year. No,
I was gonna say if it's not consensus Luca, I'm gonna be surprised.
I actually got
I
a
have
hot
Luca or
take.
Shea.
If you say Shea, it's not a hot take. It's just wrong.
I was gonna say I think Tatum could have a good chance of getting
Okay.
MVP this year, and
Or
just because I see him with like having that kind of like revenge tour almost, because in the finals didn't get finals MVP, then the Olympics he really didn't play much. Steve Kerr like had him log 0 minute games, and he even spoke out recently saying like he really didn't understand that. He's been receiving a lot of hate, and I just think I could see him turning it up next season, proving why he they won that championship and why he's a great player in the NBA. And also, I saw something saying that him and his trainer have been working on his shot to try to fix a mechanical issue.
Oh yeah, where he gets the ball pregnant. Creates another Deuce Tatum every 9 months. No, that's an interesting take. I kind of want to unpack that because I do like that take. The only issue I see off the top of my head is that offense is so much. I feel like that offense is just way different than other offenses. Like we see Jokic, like obviously like his usage rate is, correct me if I'm wrong, but it might be the highest in the league. I think it is, but I mean everything runs through that guy. So that guy's going to put up the stats. Embiid is kind of the same way. Shea is the same way. Like I don't feel like Tatum's usage rate is as high as it needs to be for him to actually put up the stats. What I'm trying to say basically to pack it in is everyone on the Celtics like has their nights. There's nights where Brown's having his night, there's nights where Porzingis is, there's nights where even Drew Holiday is. So it's I feel like it's possible, but it's going to be hard considering Tatum isn't the guy every night for them. But I do see him taking a bigger role and it being possible. So I definitely won't count that takeout.
kind of on the topic, you brought up a good point of just like players' usage kind of being incorporated in that. Like a dark horse that I could think of could possibly be like Jalen Brunson. Because in the playoffs, they ran through him a lot. And if he has an amazing season like he did last year and the Knicks do finish top two, he could definitely be in the running. At the I'd say at most he could definitely be in the running top three. Don't believe he would win it, but depending on how well the Knicks do, they definitely reconstructed a lot and how well he's been playing and how good he finished off. I think he could find a way to squeeze into that top three.
Yeah. I mean, you guys had kind of already said about Luca, which I think is again high score. He's leading that team again. If he does exactly what he did last year, he should be a shoe-in. The only other player I guess that comes to mind is realistically Giannis. I mean, Miles, you did say like you rank them possibly second in the East, which I even kind of disagree with, but it is possible. Like we don't know at 100% strength. I mean, we do, but like at 100% strength and everything firing on all cylinders, can this team work well together and can they win games? Yes, I think they can. And if that happens and Giannis has another MVP caliber season, I could see him kind of taking it away from some of the familiar names.
Should we take a preseason poll on where we think? Because I'm interested just to rank the East. Like Sixers, Knicks, Boston, Milwaukee. What is the order that we're going on that?
Was that a whole segment that we were gonna do or no? Because I didn't know if we I thought we said we were gonna do the 1 through 5 ranking.
Well, we were gonna rank the seeds next week, but just like I guess as a little prequel to that,
I got you.
are we putting the Bucks above the Sixers or the Knicks?
No,
I got Bucks fourth.
Okay.
I would even
So
I would maybe even put the Bucks fourth or fifth.
okay. We'll just let that sit. So we're low on the Bucks. That's good to know because I just wanted to feel like the water on that, just like
Yeah.
where we see the Bucks. But if Giannis is going to have an MVP season, then they're going to have to be top three. So,
Mhm.
Daniel, I assume since you're making the case for Giannis, that their team will have to be at least the third seed.
Yeah, I mean my right. And last season I just checked, they did finish third. So like I think that is kind of where the momentum should be. You said second. At first, when you said that, I kind of in my head just quickly Snapchat. I was like, no, I see them getting closer down to like fourth or fifth spot this year. But if I'm sticking to what I'm saying and saying that Giannis could have an MVP caliber season, then yes, they would have to be second or third for that to be realistic.
All right, so we got MVP conversation. We got three Lucas and a Tatum.
Oh no,
Is
I'm
that?
Tatum was my like hot take, but
Oh,
Luca is
okay,
probably
okay.
like my first option.
So
But
consensus Luca for
yeah,
first.
I mean he should win it or at least be top three again. I mean, unless because he's been getting voter fatigue and has even won it before. Players
Yeah.
or the voters are just not partaking him, and that could be due to his seed with his team. But anyways, we're gonna move on to our first time All Star predictions. A lot of new All Stars last year. What do you guys think as far as first time All Stars this year?
The popular vote is going to be Wemby.
Victor Wembanyama.
Like, I think I'll just get that one out the way. Wemby
For sure.
making his first All Star game. But two, I wanted to throw in there on top of that. Both of these guys have been All Stars before, but injury reserves. So, like, yeah, it counts, but I'm not counting it for the sake of this segment. I'll say Fox and Paolo. Fox for the West and possibly Paolo for the East are like my two, like, first, like, official, like, first pick All Stars.
Paulo was a Paulo was a fill-in last year.
Yeah, he was a reserve. I believe he was.
I think it was
Man,
for
I thought it was.
Embiid, right?
Yeah.
Who did Barnes replace
Hold
then?
on.
Barnes replaced KD, I want to say. No, not KD. Barnes replaced. Who did Barnes replace?
I
Wasn't
thought
Giannis hurt?
Barnes.
Julius Randle,
Yeah,
Ah,
Trey,
okay,
Randall.
okay, okay.
Trey Young, and Joel Embiid were all hurt.
No, Trey Young was a replacement. Trey Young
Oh shoot, sorry. Yeah.
played.
Okay. The only two replacements were Scotty Barnes and Trey Young, and Scotty Barnes replaced Randall, and I think Trey Young replaced Embiid.
Yeah. So Paulo technically has an all-star under his belt.
Okay. I thought he was a reserve for some reason, but I know Fox was a reserve in 2023. He hasn't made one like officially. Another one could be Jamal Murray. Still hasn't made one yet.
I'm
True.
I was gonna
Talk.
mention I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
mention Chet. I think Chet would probably could get that spot, maybe, before someone like that. But go ahead, Kevin. I think Miles wanted you to elaborate on Jamal Murray.
No, I was gonna say, just bouncing off what Victor said about revenge tours, Jamal Murray might have the greatest revenge tour season we've ever seen, considering how low everyone is on him right now. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a revenge tour candidate. If there's ever been a revenge tour list,
That's
he's
when
at the top.
that's when they were like most successful though, is when people are just playing their roles and like they go under everyone's radar and they're the kind of the underdog and not even the underdog, but just the unexpected dog in the fight.
True.
What do you guys think about either Sengun or Cade Cunningham being a first time All Star?
Sengun just sounds right, like to me, like just off of BS. Because I was gonna do one of well, not that yours is, but I have I have one that I want to say that doesn't have a lot of logic behind it, other than
I
just vibes. Go ahead.
I like both of them. I think Cade. Honestly, I think Cade might be the best one we've said so far. I think Cade is going to be, giving he stays healthy, he's going to for sure be a first time All-Star. Just giving him the space this year that he's been wanting for so long, and his shot is going to come around this year. He's going to make improvements. I think this is his year. I have the Pistons in the play-in, so like I don't think that's a hot take, but I think I like Cade a lot. And Sengun's not bad either. Those are both very good picks. I do like Fox too. And then Daniel, who did you drop yours yet?
I
You
mean, I
said
just said,
Chet. Chet's a
yeah, I
really
said
good one
Yeah,
too.
Chet's a
These
good
are
one.
all good. These are
That's
all
a good
really
one.
good picks.
There's a
one
good
of
amount of people that haven't been named yet. Like it's kind of crazy.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say too, like an interesting topic would be to talk about who's gonna be like a first time or like not a first time, but who's gonna be out, right? Like who are they gonna need to make room for, and who's been in those conversations of being an all-star so many times, and now we're like, are they gonna be this year?
that's
Hey,
yeah.
I'm glad I was just about to do that. So I'm glad you did that.
I'll tell you who's not going to be this year. Kawhi, Paul George,
Yep.
Cat. I don't think any of them will be
You
this
really don't
year.
think Cat will?
If Cat in New York, he might just be like the second coming of Tim Duncan. I don't know, like
Tim
it's
Duncan?
no, I'm
That's
kidding.
a crazy take.
Yeah,
Um,
add that to the later segment we got planned for today.
but no, seriously, like I think Cat could be good on that team for sure.
I just think he's going to be like third option, no?
Yeah,
Brunson,
but
will
All right.
he be the option over McHale, you think?
If they're smart, yeah, because I feel
Yeah.
like Mikel was at his best when he was a third option on that Suns team, where he
True.
could focus on defense and he didn't have to put that much throughput on offense. If they're smart, they would have Cat over Mikel on offense.
and Cat's like I get that he is like kind of the best player, or like when he was on the Timberwolves, like he was the best player. Um, but he's really good about like not letting that be known. You know what I mean? Like how many times a night was the attention all on other guys, like Rudy making good plays or Edwards like, having 20 points but great plays at the end, you know what I mean? And like Cat never worried about any of that, obviously. So I think he would be very comfortable being the silent number one on that team.
Yeah, him and Anthony Edwards had like really good chemistry. I don't know if you saw the interview too. Anthony Edwards was like, yeah, it was not just like who was better than who or something. He was along those lines and he was saying like we were one, like they were both equal on that team.
And that's a lot for Anthony Edwards to say, too. So,
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, I like messed the quote up, but it was somewhere along those lines. But I mean, as far as like Cat starting or not starting, being on the East, I think he has a good chance. Some of the like front court players are Embiid, Randall, who was gone, who's going to be gone in the West now. Jalen Brown, Scotty Barnes, Paulo, Tatum, Giannis, and Bam.
I
Out of
The
the
shots
mean,
there. The shots there.
true. I was going to say, man, this
he
is
could
nuts.
replace Brown, Jalen Brown.
No,
No, yeah.
no, he's not. He's not going to
Conference,
replace Jalen Brown. I'm
conference,
sorry.
or sorry, not conference, finals MVP. You can't.
He's not going to replace Jalen Brown unless there's an injury.
I'm saying if he has a better regular season, he could.
Like team success wise, or
I'm
just like
saying
stat wise.
for All Stars. It all
Um,
depends on like I think it depends on the votes from fans and some of the like media for NBA.
it's true. Fan voting
You
is a
think
big
Cat's
thing.
going to get more votes than Jalen Brown?
He just has to do it for half the season,
And it's New York. And
It's New
it's New York.
York too,
Again,
yeah.
his fan base just went up a tenfold now, in my opinion.
or it could plummet.
Yeah.
That's
Or
the
he could
that's the that's the gift and the curse of being an athlete in New York.
I'd still rather be in New York than LA though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Um, what's the temperature on Evan Mobley being an all-star this year? Speaking of front court guys.
I don't think he has a chance.
See, I think that's
Is there a
crazy.
chance? Is there a chance? Yeah, but like everyone that we just named,
Yeah.
He could be
there's
better
just no
than
room.
he could. It's not okay. So my
it's
opinion is if Rudy Gobert made all those all-star teams for his defense, why can't Evan Mobley like also? Because he was in the
Well,
running last year. His three-point percentage has increased 16%
that's
from
fucked.
last season to from two
Wait,
seasons ago to last
from
season.
from what though to what?
from 21% to 37%.
That's impressive.
I see what you're saying, but like Rudy Gobert has been in the running for Defense Player of the Year just for so many consistent years. That's kind of like his identity. He's got 4 under his belt, plus Mobley's like third option on his team.
I feel like
Mm,
the team success too is a big thing, obviously.
And I think a lot of the things that you guys are kind of like forgetting about is the fan vote is huge. And I don't know how many
Yeah.
Mobley fans there are.
I don't
I don't
know.
know how
My
many.
opinion is like if Sabonis can damn near get in, I feel like Mobley can damn near get in too.
He
It's
can, but
possible.
like I just mentioned those like front court players, and I just don't think he has a chance. Especially if they're adding Cat to the East.
And I don't know if we factored in Scotty Barnes or not, but he had a great season last year, and I think his shots only getting better, and his like defense and playmaking as a whole is getting better as well.
I'm
If
gonna
the Heat
hold
do well
on.
too,
I'm gonna hold on to this take, and I'm gonna need one of you guys to clip this because if Evan Mobley makes the All-Star team, I will never live this down.
it would be a good take.
Have faith. Have faith in my man Mobley.
Well, I'll give mine. The one that I said was going to be a BS and just kind of off of vibes. I thought about it a little bit more. Um, Trace. I think Trace could actually get an all-star. Here's why.
I don't
Politics.
even want to hear this, bro.
Politics.
I don't even want
Politics.
to hear it.
Exactly. See, and these are the clip this one. Because see, yours won't happen. Mobley's not making an all-star. This one may happen. No, to be completely honest, basically what goes through my mind is
Oh,
that when Trace came into the league last year and was just one basically thing to market for that Golden State team because they
besides
weren't
Curry.
doing besides Curry.
Besides the biggest star in the NBA.
But it's one more thing to add. I don't know. I just felt like the highlights of Trace every game, what he was doing, all that stuff was getting like shoved down my throat. And then I got on 2K. And it's kind of the same thing. I mean, they have him as their like on the Warriors roster on 2K, they have him as like their bona fide starter. And I think that if this team is to come out and do anything good because of politics, I think he has a shot at making the All-Star. And again, I can't go into detail on like why I genuinely believe that, but that's all I'm gonna say. Trace might get an All-Star because of politics in the NBA and because of marketing.
You know,
GMLB
Yeah, some
family, you heard it
that's
here first. Trace will make the All-Star team because he starts in 2K. That was
Trace
the rationale.
the Trace Jackson Jr. making his first All Star. That's some hot ass takes right there. I'm not gonna lie.
Trace Jackson Jr. Don't forget this man didn't even know his name last 2 seasons ago. What was that? Was that last season or was that two?
no,
I
that was
honestly.
two.
It was,
Oh,
yeah,
But dude, honestly, you guys say I like Blaze Shea. I think he has said Trace more than I've ever said Shay's name in my
twice.
life.
This going
No,
this
I no, I
I
not
disagree.
don't
quite.
talk I don't talk about Trace as much as he talks about or I don't talk about Shea as much as he talks about
Hey,
Trace.
it paid off,
No,
right? You guys all
What?
went against
He
you went
was
all
right.
against me. You
To
went
be
all against
fair,
me. You guys said he wouldn't even scratch, I think, 20 of the top picks, and he went lottery, which is what I said. And then I said he was going to be a starter, and he did, and he was huge for them. I mean, not huge, but he was a big addition to them. And now people actually look at Golden State and they're like, hey, they've got some pieces. They could work with that as like contrary to what it was before he got there, and there was a lot of questions about what their future was going to look like. That's all I'm saying. I know,
oh,
like I said, that was my BS take. I have a lot more. Jaime is one of them. It could be a potential All-Star this year. If the Heat do well, I guess. I don't know.
bro picked himself to be an all-star this year.
Yeah.
Bro picked himself.
That's
Also,
funny as hell.
Daniel, I don't know. I respect you going off because get your stuff off, man. I like it, but I don't know when the 57th pick became a lottery pick, but if Trace went in the
Oh,
lottery,
sorry. What that,
then
that
I'll be damned if Trace went in the lottery.
I confused him with Edie, I think. Yeah, I did.
You don't say.
Bro's mixing up his takes. But I just imagine Daniel has like 50 different like loose leaf papers on his desk, all with like different takes he's made.
Hey,
He's just like rummaging through them, trying to find the right ones.
That's
you know,
actually, yeah. That's what my
you know
brain
what?
is.
Daniel basically saying trace for the All-Star is basically like saying like tell me you go to IU without telling me you go to IU.
That's the thing. Like, I don't even care that that dude went to IU at all. Like, I
Okay.
didn't watch one game of him, and I didn't like watch him play at all. I was just like, oh,
He
that
didn't even
looks
know
like a
his
good
name,
situation.
Vic. He didn't even know his name.
It's true.
I knew him as TJD, and I knew him as TJD, and somehow I still messed up the name.
Yeah, Trace Jackson Jr. Never
Still call him
forget.
Junior.
Where's Trace Jackson Sr.? He probably played with Mike Woodson back in the 70s. Oh man, that was hot, dude. That was the hottest take. GMLB family, we have in-season tournament champs on the docket. When I count backwards from three, we're all gonna say who we think is winning it, and we're gonna move on. So, three, two, one. Toronto
Chicago
Raptors.
Bulls.
Pacers.
I don't even know.
All right. You
With
heard it
that
here
being said,
first. With Vic withdrawing his vote, we'll move on.
That's such a hard prediction, dude.
Honestly, any team is
Yeah.
like as good
Yeah.
of a guess. Like, bro, it was
Any
Pacers Lakers last
any
year.
team we talked about this last year too. Any team that we don't think is a contender for the actual chip.
I
Yeah,
always
Those
go
are
no.
the
with the
teams.
young teams, the young guys, because they always need like the money.
Yeah.
So like they
money
probably go
incentive.
out there and hoop.
It's like the preseason tournament that they have.
What preseason tournament?
That's
Don't
not a
they have
thing.
a what
What
is
are you
it?
talking? What are you talking? Bro, thought he was gonna
Doesn't
get away with that. Bro,
doesn't
what are
the
you talking
preseason
about?
the
No,
preseason has like a
no,
some kind of tournament bracket, doesn't
no,
it?
You're talking about the
no.
summer league.
Summer League. Oh,
Oh,
I got my terminology mixed up.
Dude,
you're off
Summer
by
Daniel,
League.
5 months.
Daniel's gonna be the greatest content farm we've ever had on the show, dude. Oh, I love it. I'm actually having such a good time. Daniel, keep getting your stuff off.
And that is going to be the end of Good Morning Let's Basketball this week. We're going to be back to our regularly scheduled program of every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to check us out. We got a lot of stuff planned for you guys. We got a guest coming on soon. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.